Start the countdown. 3, 2, 1.
It's the next generation of sports talk radio. It's the Mile High Horseman Show, and it starts right now, only on SoundCloud. Now to your hosts, Corwin and Turbo Days. What is up, Mile High Horsemen? This is your lead horseman, Corwin, and welcome to episode 2 of the Mile High Horseman Show. I got my co-host with me.
I'm Turbo Days.
And tonight we're going to be talking about free agency, some of Von Miller's tactics, some of the fans who think we're going to go 16-0. We're going to be talking about the Ring of Fame, and we're going to have the Mile High Horseman fact of the day. First off, let's start off with who won the contest. Jared, this is your specialty, so take it away.
So we had some applicants do the contest sent in by email to mhhshow@gmail.com, and our winner was Colden Brooks, who wins a sketch from Don Medina. I already sent it, and it's on the way. And thanks for sending in your emails and your comments. We do read them, every single one of them. So that's about it. Thank you, Colden, for doing the contest.
Okay, now first thing we're going to talk about tonight, guys, let's talk about episode 1. We know, guys, it was our first show. We were up late that night. It was kind of hard to, stay on one topic, and we were trying a little bit too hard. I know it. And, to stay professional and all that. What we're just going to be doing here, we're not going to keep it professional. We're just going to be hanging out, keep it more relaxed, and, just talk about the Broncos and sports and stuff like that. So if it did get a little bit awkward for you guys, we apologize for that because, like I said, it was our first show. So, yeah, go ahead.
It was past 12 midnight into 2 a.m., so we had quite a few takes to get the recording down, so we were tired. We probably did like 3 shows to make up for this one show. We apologize for doing it so late because we also had to wait for Adrian to get done watching the Avalanche game as well, So
yeah, guys, again, like I said, if it sounded like a little scatterbrained to you guys and, it sounded awkward and all that, we got that down now. We got the recording because we were trying to find out a way to record this damn thing. Like, first we tried, what was it? We tried Skype. Uvu, we tried Skype, we tried everything else, and then I said, screw it, let's try Google Plus, and we finally got that down, and by that time it was already late, it was like already midnight, like Jared said, and we were tired, and then we had to do another show again because the first one got screwed up somehow, and yeah, like I said, guys, it was a big mess, so yeah, we got the first episode down, and now we're going to do this one, and from now on, it's just going to be more relaxed and kick back, and like I said, we're just going to have our guests on and all that, but because we have a guest, Anthony J. Peters, coming on later on in the show. Well, then we'll talk about a couple other things, but for now, let's move on to fans who think that we're going to go 16-0 last year and who think they're going to go 16-0 this year. Let me just first start off by saying this, guys. I am a realist. I mean, I love my Broncos. I have been supporting them ever since I was 2 years old, but I do not ever believe that the Broncos will ever go 16-0. That will never happen. It just doesn't seem realistic, and, especially with the schedule, it's not going to happen. But what's your thoughts about it?
Yeah, we get these fans that have too high of expectations. They live in a fantasy world, and unfortunately, I'm the same way. I'm a realist. I take, I know what happens every year, and it's nothing wrong with having a loss before the playoffs. As long as you can get in, it's okay to lose before you get to the playoffs because, you're gonna have to try to get a streak going on in the playoffs. So there's a time when when it's okay to lose, at the right time, and then you try to improve game after game, and I just think the 16-0 talk and like, oh, we're gonna go and win the Super Bowl next year. They've been saying that too with Peyton Manning, and I think that we always get our expectations way too high, and I wish we would just lower them and take it just game by game. We don't have to. We should, take it just game by game and see how it pans out, because it could be a bad year for all we know. I think a lot of us thought we were going to win the Super Bowl at this past Super Bowl, and we sure got a rude awakening from that. So just don't get it too high. So that's all I'm going to say about that topic.
Yeah, just get my last, just one last thing I want to say about that. Just like you said, every year there's always somebody especially just like you said, with Peyton Manning being on the team, oh, we're gonna win the Super Bowl and we're gonna win back-to-back Super Bowls. We're gonna win 3 back-to-back Super Bowls and some bullshit like that. We're gonna go 16-0. Peyton Manning's gonna have break all kinds of records like he did last year. No, it's not. I mean, yeah, we had a great year last year, guys. There's no doubt about that. But you can't expect to see that every single year. There's obviously going to be losses in there. There's going to be some painful losses in there. There could be even a trap game loss in there. So, yeah, guys, just like I said, just kind of keep it on the low on that. Just take it week by week like I do. Take it like week by week just like Jared does. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. Let's move on to free agency. So, let's talk a little bit about some of the guys we've gained and some of the guys we've lost. First off, what we're going to do, we're going to talk about some of the guys we lost. Go ahead, Jared, to see what your thoughts are on this.
We lost Trenton Holiday. What do you think of him going?
Let me say this. He is not. Last year, he was not the same Trenton Holiday we seen in 2012. 2012, Trenton Holiday was insane. He reminded me a lot of Dante Hall. He would be returning kick returns back and forth. But in 2013, he was getting injured. He had the injury bug plaguing him. He had a fumbling problem. It wasn't really that big of a loss, even though I did like Trenton Holiday, but it doesn't really seem that much of a big loss to me. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, he had a spectacular year in 2012. I mean, yeah, he did look like Dante Hall. I mean, but a big thing last year also was a lot of the plays went back. It sucked seeing him go all the way, and then it was like, oh, we got a penalty, so we have to take that back. There was a couple of those last year, and that pissed me off quite a bit. We could talk about special teams on another show, how bad it was for the Broncos last year. But Trenton Holiday, I don't think I'm going to miss him because, yeah, last year was not a great year for him. He fumbled a lot. There was times where he was he would decide trying to go out of bounds, and then he'd get socked from some player and lose the ball, and then it would stay in bounds while he was out of bounds. And it's okay to get rid of him. So next is Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. What's your take on him going?
Boy. I mean, let me say this. I really did like DRC. I mean, he was a good corner. It does really suck to lose him. I mean, I wish we could have kept him, but just next man up. That's the way I see it. But it does hurt to lose him. But what's your thoughts on it?
He was good at swatting the balls away. He wasn't really a good at tackling, but I would have liked to have kept him. He showed signs of improvement, and I didn't mind him one bit. But I think he is replaceable. In my opinion. And the next one that left us is Eric Decker.
Oh, let me say this, guys. Eric Decker going to the Jets. I mean, we all knew. I mean, I knew it. I mean, everybody was in denial saying, oh, he'll resign with the Broncos. It's like, no, he was going to want more money. I'm guaranteeing you right now he's not going to stay. But all the ladies who love his body and everything like that said, oh, no, we're going to keep our Eric Decker. And I was like, no, he's not. He's going to go. And that's exactly what happened in the offseason. He left. And as for me, whether I think it's such a bad thing or whether he left or not, I really am not that upset about it because he did drop a lot of balls. He was kind of a butterfingers, and he used to trip over his own feet a lot. So, yes, he was a good receiver, but you can't compare him to Demaryius Thomas or Julius Thomas. That's just not even in the same ballpark. So, yeah, again, he's definitely replaceable, but what's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I liked Eric Decker a few years ago. I actually was thinking about getting his jersey at one point. I don't know. I see his show on the E Entertainment Network, and I think his girlfriend or fiance, whoever she is, she's pregnant with his baby now. But I think she really wanted to go to New York, and with how it was inevitable that he was going to go to somewhere else for the money and try to get paid number one money when he's a number two receiver. Easily in my book, and he had some really good games, no doubt about it. He had that one game where he got 3 touchdowns in a game, at least 3 touchdowns in a game, and he had some really nice moves when we went to that Monday Night Football game against the Raiders. But yeah, no, it's okay if he goes to the Jets. I knew it was inevitable that it was going to happen. So, and the next one that that left the coop is Sean Phillips. What's your take on him leaving?
Like you've said before, he did step up a lot when Von Miller was suspended. All I can say is, when then when he got hurt too. So yeah, I mean, all I can say is that it is definitely kind of a loss. But what's your thoughts on it?
Sean Phillips took over for Von Miller, and I wish he would have got re-signed for some money. He came from the Chargers, and I was looking forward to him playing for us for more years than just 1 year. And we have a lot of defensive ends, so we're pretty stacked with defensive ends. It's okay if he leaves, but I wish he would have re-signed. And last but not least is Wesley Woodyard. What's your take on Wesley Woodyard leaving the Broncos?
That's a big loss because he was the captain of the defense. He was a veteran. He was a leader. He was a good linebacker. I'm definitely going to miss him. I wish we would have come up with some kind of deal to keep him. But as they say, next man up. So what's your thoughts about it? But I don't like that loss at all.
I liked Wesley Woodyard quite a bit. There was a time last season where he wasn't doing so well. I think it was late in the season or playoffs. Danny Trevathan pretty much became the captain of the defense. I will miss Wesley Woodyard as our linebacker. So now we're going to talk about the final player that flew the coop to the Saints, Champ Bailey. What's your take on Champ Bailey leaving the Denver Broncos?
Oh, now this one's a kind of a touchy subject because, as we all know, Champ Bailey, one of the best corners to ever play for the Broncos. He had a great career with the Broncos. I'll always appreciate what he did for this organization, but the last couple of years he has not played like Champ Bailey. Last year, for the first time in his career, had 0 interceptions, and he was plagued with that injury on his foot. And it was just a bad year for him. And and then we knew his contract was coming up this offseason, and I kind of figured I don't think we're going to keep him, but I'll keep all hope and see what happens. And he was even talks of him moving over to safety, but I kind of had a bad feeling that we were going to be able to keep him. And but like I said, I always appreciate what he did, but his time was just up. That's all I can say about that. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I loved Champ Bailey around 2006. He had a massive interception against Tom Brady in the playoffs, ran it all the way back for a touchdown. That was one of my most memorable moments watching Champ Bailey. And to see him go is going to suck. I know a lot of people love Champ Bailey as much, Eric Decker. Champ Bailey, is going to be in the Ring of Fame. He's going to be in the Hall of Fame, most likely. It's going to be awkward not having him around the Bronco organization anymore, but he wasn't playing to his potential, and being down for 10 weeks, the first 10 weeks he was out. So why would we want to keep you? And you want like $9 million for the next season, if I'm not mistaken. That's too much money to invest in a player like Champ Bailey, and we can get someone that is much younger and can be someone we can build up for way less money. And it just didn't work out with him the last few years. So, all right, so now we're going to be talking about free agents that have come into the Denver Broncos organization. First one is T.J. Ward. What's your thoughts, Adrian, on T.J. Ward coming to the Denver Broncos?
Well, something that we really struggled with last year was the secondary. We were ranked 26th or 27th or something like that out of 32 teams, and the secondary was pretty bad last year. And something that we really needed to pick, really needed this year was the secondary, especially losing Champ Bailey and DRC. So we really needed to pick a couple guys up, and this guy. TJ Ward, he had 2 interceptions and a forced fumble. So, yeah, I definitely look forward to seeing him play. It definitely is an A-plus pickup for me, but what's your thoughts?
If there's any good Browns players, we ended up picking up one. He made the Pro Bowl. I'm looking forward to TJ Ward coming to the Broncos. I'm very excited, and to have him over a Champ Bailey that didn't really play much of the last season, or and then even he'll fill in for DRC. So I think it was a good move, and I think we made a lot of the right necessary pickups, for free agency for the positions that we needed. So I love having TJ Ward on the Broncos, definitely. The next player is Aqib Talib. What's your thoughts on Aqib Talib coming to the Broncos, Adrian?
I like this signing too. Again, this is another secondary player that we needed. He's a cornerback. Last year he had 4 interceptions. And all I can say is, like I said, with DRC and Champ Bailey gone, we needed to pick up a cornerback, and we got him. I'm looking forward to seeing him. Aqib Talib's a big signing for me. I could give this one an A+ too. What's your theory on it?
Aqib Talib, I like him coming to the Broncos. Some people like the Patriot fans because they lost him. It's kind of weird because they said that he's like a centerpiece of the defense. He's like the guy on the defense, but then they were saying that he's also injury prone. So which way is it? They kind of like to say one thing but then the other. I think they're just upset that we ended up taking him, just kind of like when we took Wes Welker away from him. They really hated that. But Aqib Talib, the one thing I don't like, and you would agree, I'm assuming, is the price tag for him. I think it was like $57 million or something like that.
It was a little steep. Yes.
Yeah, to me that's very steep for a corner. I'm not a big person on money, but to me, I wouldn't be paying him that much. But Aqib Talib, he just like TJ Ward, I'm excited to see what he can do, and we needed a better secondary, and it seems like John Elway is making those necessary steps to making it happen for a better pass defense, which we need very badly. Our run defense was ranked like number 1 at one point, but the pass defense was always a subject that we needed to take care of last season, and we always were scratching our heads of, like, can we do better? Can we improve? We're going to do much better next year, I think. So, all right, our next player that we're going to be talking about that's coming to the Broncos is DeMarcus Ware. What's your take, Adrian, on us picking him up?
Well, I mean, he's a defensive end, and that's pretty much all there is to say about it, because his stats from last year aren't really all that impressive. He didn't have like 50 sacks or anything like that. He wasn't stopping all kinds of everything like that. But he is the Cowboys' all-time sack leader, apparently. But I mean, when you talk about the Cowboys, anything they do is all-time anything in their franchise. But that's another talk about for another time. But yeah, I mean, this is an okay signing. I mean, I'll give it a C, but because I'm not really too sure about it. But what do you think?
I think he's going to have a better year with the Broncos than he did with the Cowboys last season. I know we played against the Cowboys, and he wasn't getting to Peyton Manning. I don't know if that's just him or if we had just a good offensive line, protecting Peyton Manning. But I was expecting more from him when we took him on. But DeMarcus Ware, I'm okay with it because we got people like, well, we're going to talk about this later in the show, but Von Miller with his wild antics and, sometimes juvenile decisions. I think we need a veteran like DeMarcus Ware who can, stop them in their tracks and tell them it's not right to do this or not right to act like this. And I remember one time Des Bryant was ripping people on the sidelines, getting all upset and screaming up in their face, and DeMarcus Ware pulled him and pretty much told him to shut up and be quiet and act professional. So that's the kind of veteran leadership I would love to see come to the Broncos, some professionalism. So I think it's a good signing. I think he's going to do better. I can guarantee you that he's going to have more sacks this year than last year with the Cowboys. That's a guaranteed promise, and you heard it first on the Mile High Horseman show. And next is Emmanuel Sanders. What do you think of him coming to the Broncos?
This is actually a pretty decent signing. I actually like the signing. With Eric Decker leaving, we needed a wide receiver. I think that Emmanuel Sanders is still a pretty decent receiver. But I have to see what happens. But I like this signing. He has 11 touchdowns. He has 2,030 receiving yards. But I don't know. What do you think about this signing?
Okay, so the Pittsburgh Steelers, they had Mike Wallace, who ended up going to the Dolphins. To me, Emmanuel Sanders was like their number 2 wide receiver, just right behind Mike Wallace. I think Emmanuel Sanders, he's light. He's really fast as lightning, and I think he's going to be a big time player for us next year for us. And I'm very excited to see Emmanuel Sanders play for the Broncos. Him plus Manning, I don't even want to know what it's going to be like. I'm gonna get really excited. I'm getting really excited right now just thinking about Emmanuel Sanders playing for the Denver Broncos. You guys are gonna be seeing a really good show with him next year. And that is all the free agents that have come to the Denver Broncos for this year.
Okay, now we're going to be talking about Von Miller. As you all know, last year Von Miller was got in a little bit of trouble. He got suspended for, 6 games. He failed a drug test, and then he tried to have somebody else do it for him or some bullshit like that. And it was just a big mess, and it was diluted, and and he got suspended for 6 games, and it was a pain in the ass. And I was really disappointed in him because he's my favorite player right now on the Broncos. Not Peyton Manning. I love Peyton Manning, that's for sure, but Von Miller is my favorite player, and I was like disappointed. I was like, oh man, come on, Von, what are you doing, dude? You got to think about your team, man. You got to think about your future. Why are you doing such stupid shit, dude? You're not only hurting yourself, but you're hurting your team. But like you said, though, I mean, like a lot of people know, we went 6-0 without him.
Yeah.
When he came back against the Colts, we ended up losing, which was kind of weird. But anyway, that's for another story for another time. But yeah, what are your thoughts about it, man? I thought it was just complete nonsense on his part.
Yeah, I think he did fail a drug test, and then like you already mentioned, he needs to act way more professional. If he does another little stint like that next year, he's gone. Like I think the next consequence is a year of suspension. It's all on him right now, and if he wants to be traded, I mean, all he has to do is about another season of what he did this previous season. Because unfortunately, I think for us, we want we want professionalism, and if we're getting some sort of guy that's acting like a kid, we're not going to stand for it after a while. We can only have your back for so long. And Von Miller, you are one of my favorite players on defense, and to me, you're like a hitman. Like when there's a quarterback, it always seems like you're right behind him, ready to give him a sack. And I love watching you. It seems like they don't even know where you're coming from, and for you to act like this was a disappointment for me as a Bronco fan, and I'm sure many others that are listening to the show right now. So that's my take on that.
Final thoughts on it is, just shape up. I mean, because like I said, when I first heard about that bullshit, I was hurt by it. I mean, like, what are you doing to your fans? What are you doing to your club? What are you doing to yourself? Shape up. Stop acting stupid. And I'm not mad at you, but I'm just saying I'm disappointed. But I'm pretty sure you got your head straight now. So yeah, just none of that bullshit this year. Keep yourself clean. No off the field bullshit. So yeah, that's all I can say about that.
Before we go in, who's a player that you would like to see in the Ring of Fame? Ring of Fame, and who made it into the ring?
Yeah, that's all I can say about that. I'm done.
All right, well, we're going to talk about the Ring of Fame and who made it into the Ring of Fame this year. Before we go in, who's a player that you would like to see in the Ring of Fame?
Ed McCaffrey.
Okay. I was going to say the same thing. I think Ed McCaffrey should definitely be in it. Terrell Davis is he already in the Ring of Fame?
I think dude, you got me with that one. I'm pretty sure he is, but I don't even know, bro.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that get in, and it's become such a long list after time. I'll have to look it up sometime, but yeah, Ed McCaffrey all the way. Everyone's been saying Ed McCaffrey, and I'm sure he'll get it one of these years, and hopefully I could maybe go to the games when he gets into the Ring of Fame. That would be really nice to see because I've always wanted to see him play. Unfortunately, I live in South Dakota, so I never got to I couldn't never ask my mom to go to the Broncos game in Denver around the time Ed McCaffrey was playing, and he's always been my favorite Bronco, like I mentioned in the first video. But yeah, Ed McCaffrey would be mine. I'm kind of biased though. I've always thought he would be a part. He should be a part of the Ring of Fame. I think he should be a part of the Hall of Fame. But wide receivers, they're pretty selective on that. So, but
I mean though, like just to say one more thing though. Just like you mentioned in the last show, dude, he can take some monster fucking hits and still hang on to the ball. I remember, like you mentioned, when he broke his leg against the Giants, he took a monster hit and snapped his leg, and he still caught the ball. I mean, he was a fucking stud. He should definitely be in the Ring of Fame. But
he was he was a big hitter too, I guess, from what I can from some of the videos he could block.
Boy, he could block big time. He could block. Yeah, he was a great blocker.
Okay, well, we're gonna mention the people that made it into the Hall of Fame. Let's get the first one out of the way because I really don't know much about him. Unfortunately, is a guy named Gene Mingo. I guess he was with the Broncos like the first 5 seasons of the franchise. I think that's cool that he's a pioneer like that. I think there's others that should probably get in before this guy. That's kind of, maybe that's being mean or whatever, but I don't know nothing about this guy whatsoever, unfortunately. What do you think of Gene Mingo getting into the Ring of Fame?
Well, I couldn't really say a whole lot about him either because I wasn't even born at the time. My grandpa was the one that really watched the Broncos in those days. But just, looking at his stats, I think the only reason why they put him in there is because, like you said, he's a pioneer. And but other than that, I mean, his stats are kind of unimpressive. He did have good, punt return stats, but other than that, I mean, I just don't. I don't know, man. What do you think about it?
I think it should have been someone else, but if that's what they want to pick, that's who they want to pick, and I can't go back on it. So, the next person is Dan Reeves, former head coach of the Denver Broncos, who was head coach around the Elway days in the 80s. What's your take on Dan Reeves coming to the Hall of Fame or the Ring of Fame?
I mean, honestly, bro, I would have rather seen Mike Shanahan in there, because he won back-to-back Super Bowls with us. He was a fucking genius. But Dan Reeves, just because he was there during the drive, doesn't necessarily mean he had everything to do with it. I mean, that was just John Elway being a fucking beast as he always was. So, I mean, I'm okay with it. I mean, yeah, all right, he took us to the Super Bowl, but that was mostly John Elway's comeback kid tactics. But what's your thoughts about it?
Dan Reeves, all I know about him, he was there in the 80s, and it's okay. I don't mind him getting in. I prefer Mike Shanahan to get in if he's not in it already. I don't think he is in it, which is kind of weird and kind of a shame. But thanks, Dan Reeves, for getting in there with, I know you and John Elway kind of butted heads, but at least you did your part as head coach, I believe. So the next and final person to get into the Ring of Fame is Rick Upchurch.
All I can say is, guys, my grandpa looked up to this man. He was his favorite player besides John Elway, and I had the pleasure of meeting this man in person. Rick Upchurch is a very humble guy. He was a great punt returner in the 70s, in the 77 team. He had a lot to do with the Broncos going to that first Super Bowl. They could not have chosen a better guy. I've been calling for this for a while. I mean, maybe that's just me being biased because I've met him and he's an awesome guy, but I personally I'm very excited to see Rick Upchurch in the Ring of Fame.
I'm not that. I'm still young. There was time as a Bronco fan, I always knew about Rick Upchurch's name, kind of like Carl Mecklenburg. Everyone knows his name as a Bronco fan. Rick Upchurch, he's one of those names that comes out just like Floyd Little, in Broncos history. So him getting into to the Ring of Fame, it was. I think he deserves it more than Dan Reeves does, and Gene Mingo this year more than those guys. He definitely had some history as being one of the best punt returners back then. So I think he's definitely suitable to be in the Ring of Fame, no doubt about it. He was a wide receiver at one time, and he had like 7 touchdowns one season in 1979. So like I was saying, this is before 1980. He was in with the Broncos, so I really don't know too much about the guy, unfortunately. I know there was actually a Facebook group or a Facebook page that was just dedicated to Rick Upchurch getting into the Ring of Fame. So they got what they wanted, and I'm sure a lot of Bronco fans are very happy. I just found a quote from Dan Reeves. I'm just going to read what he says, and we're going to just wrap this segment up. It says, a head coach has to take advantage of the players he has. He has to be flexible enough to take advantage of their unique skills, maybe like John Elway. I feel you have to be multiple on offense, yet simple enough so your players can understand it. Preparation is the best motivator. Always have them prepared. If you have to make speeches every week, you're in jeopardy of having lots of ups and downs. In this league, you really have to have self-motivated players. Isn't that the truth? Now it's all about money, just like you said in the first episode, with Eric Decker. Mm-hmm. He wanted the money. Now, it's hard to self-motivate players nowadays. It seems like, there's some games where you don't know why they're not motivated enough by the money that's given to them. But okay, that was a quote from Dan Reeves, and that ends this segment. And we are going to talk. I'm just going to pick out a Mile High Horseman fact of the episode. We're going to talk about Michael Brooks. Looks like he was a Denver Bronco. He weighed 235 pounds. He was drafted in 1987. He's a superb pass rusher for the Broncos. Michael had 4 of the club's top 10 single-game tackle totals in 1990. His most outstanding performance was a 20 tackle effort in the team's 34-31 overtime win versus the Seahawks on September 23rd. Michael's statistics for 1990 include 102 tackles, 73 assists, and 2 passes defensed, and 2 quarterback sacks. His hometown was Ruston, Louisiana. He played college for LSU before coming to the Broncos, and he was born in 1964. So that is inside linebacker Michael Brooks.
Okay, and now we're going to move on to our special guest we have for this week. We have Anthony J. Peters here. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the group.
How's it going, guys? My name's Anthony J. Peters. Thanks for having me on tonight, guys. Really appreciate it.
It's good to have you on. Just first off, just tell us about yourself and how you became a Bronco fan and all that.
Absolutely. So I'm actually from Colorado. I was born in Aurora, which is a suburb right outside of Denver. Lived there for about 2 years and then moved out to California. Been living in Rosa, which is a suburb outside of Sacramento, California, for pretty much my entire life. As far as, becoming a Bronco fan, I was little, started getting into football, as a little kid. And, my dad, he was actually a Bronco fan too. He actually owned a golf store in Colorado and expanded it to the West Coast in California. When we were living in Colorado, he actually got a chance to play golf with John Elway, Dan Reeves, and Gary Kubiak, because all of them shopped at his golf store. So, he became a Bronco fan and then kind of like introduced me to the Broncos as I got older.
That'd be very strange having to play golf with those individuals. or that'd be a great experience, no doubt about it. That's crazy. How did you find out about the group?
Just, on Facebook, a couple other groups I was in, my buddy's Jeff, he actually lives up in Washington. I think, saw a link from him. And then, so when I saw, some of your YouTube videos and found out about the group that way. And, it's great. I love being a member of it.
Yeah, we've definitely expanded. We've grown. When did you start with us?
I started last year, I believe. It was, like I think it was like right before the season started or during the off season.
Okay. Yeah, you were kind of like one of the first people besides like the guys that are on the group. In our group we have the video makers, the main ones like Christina, me, Fizzle, Adrian. You're like the one that made like a video on his webcam and just posted it in our group. You're like the first one to do that. Like, like kind of show your face, even though we didn't really know you too well. So I thought that was pretty cool that you were able to give us your take on, like, I think it was either the draft last year or it was some sort of analysis, I remember. So I thought that was pretty cool of you. So let's see here. So like how is it being a Bronco fan in California with like the 49er fans, the Oakland Raider fans and San Diego Charger fans? And have you been to a Broncos game in your life ever? I mean, my first experience was only a few years ago. So have you been? Do you go to the games in California?
Yeah, so being a Bronco fan in California, I mean, you guys would be surprised. There actually are a lot of Bronco fans in California that I've met over the years. Even though, yeah, like you guys said, we're in the middle of Raider country, Niner country, and of course, San Diego Chargers there. But I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gone out and just run into Bronco fans. The other night I was at the movie theater seeing Captain America. When I was in line getting popcorn, I saw some guy had a Bronco hat on, so I'm just like, love the hat, bro. And he's just like, sweet, another Bronco fan? I'm like, yep. I mean, it's great. It's really cool to see, how many Bronco fans there are that actually, live out here in California. And,
how was the Super Bowl loss in your opinion? What did you do to did you go with some people to any bar or anything? How did you celebrate the Super Bowl?
Yeah, I was watching it at home with my family, my parents, and my sister, and yeah, it was a tough pill to swallow. Definitely, definitely having some alcohol definitely helped me get over that loss.
I think we were all there with you, So, Adrian, you got some more questions for him?
Oh, just kind of like what you were going to ask. Have you been to any games in California? Have you what games have you been to, if you have been to any?
Okay, so the first game I went to was actually back in 2002. We were playing the 49ers in San Francisco. That was actually that was Terrell Davis's last season with us. He's still on the roster, but he ended up retiring shortly after that, and we had Brian.
Yeah, he had a really short career, unfortunately. That was always the downfall about his career, that it wasn't so long. And God bless his soul, with that 2,000-yard season he had. Who was your favorite Bronco player?
Yeah, Terrell Davis. He actually was my favorite Bronco player growing up as a kid. He's the reason why I became a Bronco fan. Just started watching him, and he's really exciting. Just seeing him come out of nowhere from being a 6th-round draft pick. He was on the verge of giving up football, quitting the team, and then he stuck with it, and had that awesome preseason performance against the Niners, and obviously shot up the depth chart after that. So
there is a book out there. I don't know. I was gonna buy it, but it's at a thrift store, and it talked about Terrell Davis's story. Did you read that by chance, or at least his biography or something?
Yeah, I read his biography, and then obviously seeing the America's game on the 97 and 98 Broncos, and obviously he was featured on that, so he kind of shared his story on that.
What year did you become a Bronco fan again?
Started becoming a fan in 95, so
95. Okay. Yeah, did you like those throwback jerseys? The one the D logo,
Yeah, I did. Just the whole I mean, obviously Orange Crush. Obviously the defense back in the day. I mean, I just love those orange uniforms and the old D logo. I thought those were pretty cool. I mean, it took me a while to get used to the new uniforms.
Yeah, and then it was kind of awkward how we won the Super Bowl with the first year with our new uniforms. So that I thought that was very. It was kind of strange how that happened, So I mean, a lot of people love the old uniforms, and I always vouched for, the uniforms at least be played like in one game out of the season. We brought that up once, and I think I still hold to that. I think 1 or 2 games with the old uniforms would be nice. So, Adrian, any more questions for Anthony?
No, that's pretty much it from my end. Just again, thanks for being on the show.
What did you think of the draft?
Yeah, the draft.
I was pretty impressed with the draft. I thought we drafted for need at a lot of positions we need. It's great to see us get cornerback in the first round. I really love that linebacker we got from LSU.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think here's my take on it. I thought like the corner being the first pick in the draft, I thought that was a great pick. I really enjoyed that. I thought it was that and a linebacker, and I knew we were going to get a linebacker at some point. And then what did you think of the wide receiver being in the second round?
Oh, Latimer, that guy's a freaking beast. I'm excited to see what he's going to do in our offense with Peyton Manning getting the ball to him. I think that was definitely the steal of the draft, getting him in the second round.
It's so sad because when it comes to the draft, I'm really like not that. I don't want to say I'm not interested. I do care about the Broncos, the future of the Broncos being picked and all that. But when it comes to like knowing who's who, I really have a problem. I really don't know too much about it. So, but do you keep up with that, like knowing who the prospects are with college football, like who's hot and who's not and all that?
I mean, obviously being out here on the West Coast, follow the Pac-12, and so, I know a lot of the guys, being drafted from the Pac-12 and some of the other conferences, some of the SEC players, so I try to keep up on those guys as best I can, and, really, I mean, it's so hard to judge, rookies after 1 year.
Do you have a favorite college football team you like to root for?
USC Trojans.
Oh gosh, I'm not a USC Trojans fan. I just with what was it, Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart, they were really good at back around like 2004 and 2005 and that time. So I was kind of I don't know what it is, but I just don't like those guys. They were awesome though. What'd you think of the Vince Young taking the championship game against USC?
That was tough to watch. Vince Young, he just ran all over our defense that game. That was really bad to see.
I thought USC was going to win that game because I still remember it. He was like 4th and 5, and he went for it and he ran it in for the touchdown. That was one of the most exciting national championship games that I've ever watched for college. So, do you think some of those college football players should be paid or not?
I'm kind of up in the air on that one. I mean, yes, they're getting they do get scholarship, and they do get free education. Obviously being football players. I mean, and at the same time, it's like, well, they can't have jobs. If they want to get a part-time job and work, they really can't. I mean, it's definitely something that's debatable whether or not they should get paid or not.
Let's go back to the Broncos. What's the one team, or do you have a group of teams that you hate or dislike very much?
Obviously, the Raiders are definitely number one on my list as far as hating them, can't stand them, and just like I'm just like so sick of hearing all these Raider fans, that my friends were talking about. Oh, we had an awesome off season. We signed so many great free agents. We had a great draft. We're gonna really make some noise this year. And just like, yeah, okay, guys, good luck with that.
Make some noise. It should mean like maybe possibly you'd be lucky to win the division if you're making any noise, because they're having trouble with that.
I mean, they'd be lucky to be making any noise to be second in the division, let alone win the division.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Like there's some powerhouse or something. I'm not really. Yeah, they're going to be in the. I think they're going to be last in the AFC West again. So they might get lucky with Matt Schaub, but they got rid of Terrell Pryor, so I don't think they're going to be too hot. I thought Terrell Pryor, like I said, he would run really good. I thought he ran against us pretty well, and when me and Adrian went to that Monday Night Football game, so that was the one player I actually didn't mind. So, But oh yeah, what do you think of Roger Goodell as our commissioner? What do you think about all these rules changing in the NFL?
It's like if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Some of these rules that he's trying to change. It's like it's like, what are you trying to do? Make this the no fun league, Roger? I mean, come on, man. Just leave some of this stuff alone. Let the players have fun. Let the players celebrate a little bit after they score touchdowns. Don't gotta changing all these rules every single year. It seems like.
Oh yeah, what are some of the rules they've changed? I mean, I think they just did one where they they either raise the field goal post or something like that, and I just don't understand. It seems like every year it's changing. It's just like that the punts being was it 5 yards forward or ahead, and now it's always now we have a bunch of touchbacks every single game. So I just don't think that's I don't want to. I want to see exciting football. I don't want to see touchbacks all the time. And
oh yeah, seriously. Yeah, same here. I want to see I want to see a chance. I want to see guys return. Run kickoff returns back for touchdowns. I mean, it's exciting. To see special teams plays.
Well, and it's also like this, like there's boxing, and those guys don't care one thing about concussions, they don't care at all. They're getting socked and smacked just like it was in the 1920s, or So I just don't. I'm also right there with you. I'm a fan of. I love history, so to me, sports history, those guys took some vicious hits back then, so. I think they could, for all the money that they make, I think it's a contact sport, it's a collision sport. So let them take hits. If they're dirty hits, whatever, fine them if you'd like. But I just don't understand it sometimes with the NFL. So do you keep? Oh yeah, you're a big Sacramento Kings fan. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so are you a season ticket holder, or do you just go to a lot of those games?
Yeah, just go for fun. Go to about maybe 5-6 games a year. Just go meet my buddies. I mean, definitely fun to watch, even though they haven't been good in the last 7 years. I still support them and love them to death.
Who's their biggest rival for an NBA team?
Obviously, back in the heyday, when they were good, the nice rivalry going with the LA Lakers. I mean, it's kind of fallen off the map. Nowadays, I mean, Lakers haven't been that great the last couple of years either. But and the Warriors actually they've turned into a nice little knockout rivalry between the Kings as well. I mean,
I was just about to say that. Yeah,
games.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Y'all and the Warriors should have a pretty good rivalry. I've actually heard a lot about it. What were you thinking around the time that you thought that they were going to sell the team and make the Seattle Supersonics again?
Yeah, I was heartbroken when I thought for sure that was a done deal and they were leaving. I thought, oh man, there's no way Sacramento's going to be able to do anything to save this. But obviously, Kevin Johnson, I mean, he really stepped up. He was able to get, a great group of investors together, and, somehow they were able to pull the miracle off. So now it's just a matter of getting our new arena built. And
I was just about to ask you about that. What's going on with that new arena now? Is it in the works yet, or is it still up in the air?
It's in the works. We had a couple, groups that were trying to, stop it and getting on the ballot for people to vote about it, but, all that stuff got thrown out, and so going to be breaking ground on and start construction on it this summer.
That's good. Because honestly, I mean, from a NBA fan standpoint, I wouldn't want to see the Kings leave Sacramento like the Supersonics left Seattle and went to OKC like they did. I thought that was kind of bullshit. But anything else you need to ask him, Jared?
How far is Sacramento from San Francisco? Do you ever go around to San Francisco sometimes?
Yeah, my brother, he actually lives in San Francisco. It's about a 2-hour drive, depending on what traffic's like. Obviously, once you get anywhere close to the city, it takes a little while to actually get into the city, but about a couple hours away. It's a great city to go visit.
All right, were you sad that Candlestick Park is gone now?
It's it's a old stadium. I mean, it's it's a classic stadium, a lot of history there. But I mean, the Niners are definitely deserving of a brand new stadium. It's something that they deserve. I mean, it's kind of like the old Mile High Stadium. That was a great stadium and had tons of history there. But it's great that we have Sports Authority at Mile High built now. I mean, that's a great new stadium for us.
Have you been to a home game, or are you planning on going to a Denver Broncos home game in the future at some point?
Yeah, definitely in the future at some point. I'd love to, be able to get out there, go to Denver and see a game in person. I mean, like I said, went to a Niner Bronco game in San Francisco. I've been down to went down to Qualcomm. I saw the year we had Tim Tebow as their quarterback. I went to the, game against the Chargers when, Tebow pulled off the win in overtime against the Chargers. That was an exciting game, and it was great to see how many Bronco fans took over Qualcomm Stadium. I mean, it was probably like 3/4 Bronco fans, and only a quarter of the fans there were Charger fans. That was awesome.
Yeah, how's the attendance at Qualcomm Stadium since you've been there for the Charger fans? Have they? Do they come? It sounds like they don't show up at their own stadium.
Yeah, no, definitely. It seems like, like if the Chargers are having a rough year and if they're out of contention, it's like those fans, seem like they give up on the team and stop showing up. And then obviously all their team's fans come in and take over their stadium.
This is what I can say, that why Bronco fans will always be better than any other fan base in the world. Because in 2010, the Broncos had their worst season in franchise history, and yet they still sold out that fucking building every single week. Didn't matter what the hell happened. I mean, that's how loyal Bronco fans are. And Charger fans last year, their attendance wasn't that good either. Then when they all of a sudden got in the playoffs, oh, here comes all the Charger fans out of the woodwork. So, get the fuck out of here. Bunch of bandwagoners is what they are.
It wasn't even a bad year for them. They even made the playoffs. I mean, it wasn't like they were 4-12 or anything like that. That was just like an 8-8 season almost. So, I mean, that could have turned out to be like that. So that's not even that. That wasn't even that bad of a season. So what happens when they lose more than they win? So it'll be kind of weird to see in the future when Phillip Rivers retires or they don't need him any longer. So.
All right, guys, that's going to pretty much wrap it up from here. Again, just want to thank Anthony J. Peters, our guest here, for showing up tonight.
Thanks for having me. Really appreciate being on the show tonight.
Check out our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/Mile High Horseman. Give us an email at mhhshow@gmail.com if you have any questions or comments or you want to be on the show. If you want to be on the show, just email us at mhhshow@gmail.com. Give us a brief description on what you want to talk about, and we'll get to your requests because we read them all. So, be sure to email us. Again, that's mhhshow@gmail.com. So, guys, it's going to wrap it up. I'm Adrian.
I'm Turbo Days.
And this has been the Mile High Horseman Show. Mile High Salute. Go Broncos. Mile High Horsemen. We ride together. We die together. We never give up.
Never give up. Later.
Good night, everybody.